To give you an idea of who our speaker is tonight, Nancy Cavillones. She's celebrating her daughter's bar mitzvah this weekend, having many guests from out of town. And she thought, you know what would make this weekend even better is to give a Devar Torah to the congregation. So that, I think, in a nutshell, is all the introduction I need to give. But she is a beloved member of Beth Am. She's a teacher in our youth education programs. And as you'll hear tonight, she's been very involved in some of our social justice efforts. Please welcome Nancy Cavillones.
Hello. Okay, I'll just get started. Never forget, justice is what love looks like in public. On the eve of Tu B'Av, a holiday of love, I find it apt to quote these words from Professor Cornel West. Justice is what love looks like in public. In the words of Tina Turner, what's love got to do with it? Chesed, loving kindness, is central to the way that we move through the world as Jews. Social justice is the greatest expression of love. As Professor West says, unconditional love is tied to justice. You can't talk about loving folks if you're not fighting for justice. This week's Torah portion exhorts us to take special care to watch ourselves so that we don't forget the things we saw with our own eyes, and so that they do not fade from our minds as long as we live. Remembering and never forgetting are recurring motifs in our collective journey as Jews. Every holiday, every commemoration commands us to remember we survived against all odds and justice was served. We came through it together, we survived, and we continue to survive. It is our obligation to make sure that justice is served for others. Last July, a year ago, I formed a postcard collective through the Religious Action Center, known as the RAC, and sent an email to a group of people at Beth Am who had signed up to send postcards to help fight voter suppression in the South. It turned out to be a fateful email. I got a reply from one Diane Rolfe, a longtime Beth Am member who had rallied behind the cause of voting rights for many years. Would I like to join the Pursue Justice team in a civic engagement campaign and write more postcards for voting rights? Diane asked. Nearly every Thursday morning since then, I have shown up on Zoom, coffee in hand, to meet my Kasedniks in arms. Diane, Nancy Fetterman, Michaela Hellman-Tincher, Chris Whistle, and Rabbi John. Together, we have sought to gather our community to protect the voting rights of our fellow citizens because we have not forgotten what happens when a group of people are oppressed and their rights are infringed upon. A month before that invitation from Diane, in the wake of the murder of George Floyd, I began attending meetings of my local Showing Up for Racial Justice chapter in the South Bay. As I watched protests and rallies erupt around the country, I felt an enormous amount of guilt for not only not being in the streets, but not wanting to be in the streets, not wanting to put my body on the line. I had a light bulb moment when I saw a post on Instagram that reminded me that there is a role for everyone in the pursuit of justice. You just have to find your lane. I found that lane at Surge in the Decarceration Action Group. Together, we showed up at virtual meetings to compel the Santa Clara Board of Supervisors to hit pause on the building of a new jail in our county, which we did. There are many ways to show love in public, of which civic engagement is one. Opportunities to express love in public abound. Some ideas. One, call your representative and let them know how you feel about anything, really. Number two, join the RAC lobbying effort on August 2nd and August 5th to talk to our senators about the For the People Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. 3, take a shift at your local food bank. 4, staff a homeless shelter. 5, help people register to vote. 6, join an effort to resettle a refugee family. The list is truly endless. All my life, I have strived to be a good person. But if this past year and a half has taught me anything, it is that being a good person does little to move the needle forward in the pursuit of justice. This week, as we review the 10 Commandments, it behooves us to remember that it was not with our fathers that the Lord made this covenant, but with us, the living, every one of us who is here today. When God brought us out of Egypt and into the land of Israel, it was conditional on our behavior. While the commandments handed down to us had rather broad strokes, don't murder, don't steal, don't covet, don't lie, at the heart of it, God is saying, be good people and love one another. But later in Deuteronomy, in the Torah portion, Shotim, we are commanded to pursue justice. Tzedek, tzedek, tirdof. God too says it's not enough to be a good person. You must be a person who actively strives for justice. Us Jews, we have long memories. We remember we were slaves in Egypt. We have been exiled. We have been scapegoated. We have been through a lot. You shall love the stranger as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. So goes Leviticus. Rather than choose a path of anger and retribution, we choose a path of righteousness, a commitment to practice chesed. We watch ourselves and we allow ourselves to witness the pain and suffering of others so that we don't forget where we came from and so that we can bring others along with us. This is the heart of social justice and a true expression of love. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.